Good evening, Dragon Nation, and welcome to the Dragon Game Day show here at at Carl York Center. Simple mistake there, use of Jim Mayo. Now we're over here at the Carl York Center. This evening we're joined by Judge Donnie Capper, who's a Fairland graduate. Coach Jack Harris, longtime coach here. Coach Dave Carroll, also longtime coach. Myself, I'm the athletic director, Jeff Gorby. Joined by Chesapeake alum. Now we've converted him over to a Fairland guy, J.R. Clark, and our head football coach, Melvin Cunningham. We're going to have several guests throughout the evening. We're going to ask a lot of questions. We're going to hear a lot of stories from the past. First, Mr. Capper, we're going to talk a little bit about you. Talking a little bit there, graduated, we're going to say early 70s, averaged about 20 points a game your senior year. Kind of talk a little bit about, Dan Toney was a head coach at Chesapeake. Carl York was the head coach here at Fairland. Talk a little bit about your playing days and this rivalry when you were there.
Well, it's really important to me, and it's a big part of my life growing up. And one of the reasons, I think, is because my brother, Eddie, was on the Untouchables team. So I started my love affair with basketball by watching them. Mm-hmm. And my dad hung a little goal up in our basement. He probably regretted it because I drove him crazy down there with the ball. I mean, when I was 4 and 5 years old, I was playing with the basketball. And sometimes I go to practice, but going to the Fairland games was a big deal for me as a little kid. And seeing the Dragons play Chesapeake was always a thrill because it was packed and always a hot contest. And then just hoping that someday I would get to play for Coach York, and I did. And the amazing thing, a lot of people don't realize, by the time I was playing at Fairland in the early 70s, Coach Louis D'Antoni, who is the dad of Danny and Mike D'Antoni, who coached the Lakers and the Knicks and the Houston Rockets, and in my opinion changed the game of basketball in the last 20 years. But his dad was the coach at Chesapeake, and he was Coach York's coach. Coach York played at Mullins High School. He came to Marshall to play both football and basketball, but he got his start playing for Louis D'Antoni in Mullins, West Virginia. And then his coach became his big rival when he came here. I got the opportunity to see Coach D'Antoni, right before he died. I was at a Marshall game, and he was in the stands. And I went over and said, Coach, I just want to tell you, I'm Don Capper. I'm sure you don't remember me, but I played at Fairland for Coach York when you were at Chesapeake. And he said, Carl was a good man. And I said, well, he sure did think a lot of you. And another thing, they know Coach York. When Danny got hired as the Marshall coach, I was standing on the corner of 4th Avenue and 10th Street. And Danny was staying at the old Frederick Hotel. He didn't have a house yet here in Huntington. He was staying at the Frederick, and he came out of the Frederick and turned right toward me, and I said, Coach, I just wanted to welcome you to Huntington. I'm a Marshall grad. Your dad was the coach at Chesapeake when I played at Fairland. And he said, Carl was one of Dad's boys. I didn't have to say Carl York. He said, Carl was one of Dad's boys. So there's so many relationships with the D'Antonis, with Coach York, who this building we're in was named for. And, Danny calls it hillbilly ball, but we were playing that. Coach York and Jack will attest to this. What did we practice every practice? The fast break. Right. Get down and shoot it quick and run people in the ground.
Wearing those weights when we was doing drills.
Right.
Ankles.
So there's so much history and so much tie-in between these two schools. And I think, people would ask me, well, did you hate Chesapeake? I didn't hate Chesapeake, but I wanted to beat them worse than anybody else because it's like playing your brother. Because I knew those guys better than anybody. We played them all the time. We played pickup ball with them. And back when I was a kid, there was a great thing called Riverside Pool. And Riverside Pool, we all hung out there. They had dances. We got to meet not only Chesapeake girls, but girls from all over the tri-state. So it was a big rivalry. I didn't hate, and I think most of the guys I played with, we didn't hate the Chesapeake guys because they were a lot like us, but we wanted to beat them because it's bragging rights. It's like beating your brother. If you got a brother that's close in your age, you want to beat him worse than anybody else. You love him, but you want to beat him. And that's the way it was playing Chesapeake.
Now, Mr. Capper, I know that all 3 of your kids graduated from Fairland. All 3 of them played basketball at some point in time.
Yeah.
Jay, great player here in his time, and Elaine and drawing a blank. The other daughter.
Elaine and Kristen.
Kristen, yes.
Yeah.
I know they played girls basketball here. Kind of talk about that experience of watching them play where their dad played.
Okay. Well, and I was just talking to Gary Sawyer. Gary Sawyer was an assistant coach here, played here for Coach York, and he said his senior year they played Chesapeake 3 times and beat them all 3 times. They played them twice in regular season, once in tournament. Well, my son Jay can beat that. They played him 4 times his junior year, but the odd thing is they beat him 3 out of the 4 times. They played him twice in the regular season and split in the regular season. There was a Huntington St. Joe tournament then at the old field house. I think it was around Christmas time. They both played in the final. Fairland beat Chesapeake in the final. Then they played him again in the tournament up at Rio Grande, and Jay had a great, great game. Being a dad, but I will say he's the reason they beat Chesapeake in that final.
Yeah.
But the bad thing is, he says Chris Lovely reminds me of this all the time when we talk on Facebook or text each other. Chesapeake won the OVC, even though Fairland beat it 3 out of 4 times. They split the regular season, and then Fairland had one more loss to somebody, South Point or somebody else in the season, and Chesapeake only had that 1 loss in the OVC, so they wound up winning the OVC, even though they lost to Fairland 3 out of 4 times. I thought all my kids, actually Elaine had the best shot of all 3 of them, but Jay became a really good shooter. He went to Air Force to play football, but he tells me, he says, I kind of wish I would have played basketball, because he wound up messing his shoulder up playing football, and didn't actually switch to boxing. People don't know that. So he lost a bunch of weight because they wanted him to play tight end or defensive end. So when he graduated Fairland, he was about 245. They wanted him to get to 275. Well, he gets hurt, and he starts boxing at cruiserweight. So he gets down to 195 and starts playing a lot of basketball, and he could shoot. It's like Alan Burns. You remember Alan?
Yeah.
He could, if you weren't in his shorts on the three-point line, he was going to make it. So basketball is really important in our family. Now, you said something about my dad, and I love that, and I wish Eddie was here because he's my brother. But people would call the office sometimes, and, I'll often say something about your dad this, your dad that. I'll get on the phone, and I said, I had a kid in here wanting a donation and said something about my dad at the high school. I said, okay. He was a little bit more than 10 years older than me, but he was my brother. So I love him and miss him. He's been gone a while, so great guy.
Mr. Capper, we appreciate you coming on. I know that Coach has probably got a couple questions for you. I know you guys played together. Coach, you got a couple questions?
Well, I was sitting on the sideline watching him.
I'm going to tell you, he could shoot it. I watched it after I graduated. I came back and watched a couple games. And, watching him shoot the ball the way he did. And I told him, I said, I remember you nailing one from half court. He said it was against Rock Hill. I remember that. It was right in front of their coach, right at the buzzer. And he just nailed it.
That was in the tournament.
Yeah. Well, I thought you did one at home too, brother, because I said one. But, I want to say something about his brother Eddie. I wish people knew Eddie the way I did when I taught at Fairland. He was the assistant principal, and he was always getting knocked because he had to take care of discipline. Nobody likes for their kid to be disciplined, but that's what his job was, and he did it well. But he had a sense of humor that nobody really realized. He's a great guy, and I miss him dearly, and I wish he was still around.
Again, Mr. Capper, we appreciate you coming on and talking to us,
you.
giving us some stories, and you're always welcome back. We appreciate it.
I told somebody today, I said, I think they think that I played in the first Chesapeake Fairland game was about 1949, but I don't go that far back. So. Not quite. Almost there.
Again, we appreciate you coming on. We're going to talk just a few minutes to Coach Melvin Cunningham, and we're going to get, I would assume, would you assume, Mr. Clark, one of the great alumni in Alex Goo coming on here in a few minutes?
Yeah, for sure. The start of the Goo tradition at Chesapeake, and it seemed like it lasted about 30 years after that. So, for sure.
Coach, I know we had the opportunity. This was the very first, I think, basketball game that you got to experience. We introduced you here 9 years ago now. You know, this is my 9th year, so it's 9 years ago. 8 years ago, we introduced you here on this night. How is that experience? I know you've been to about every game since. How has this series kind of evolved for you and watching this go?
You know, I think just getting the opportunity to watch that game and that be my first experience of just Fairland in general was special in its own right, because you could tell that it was two communities with not a lot of distance between them, and just how passionate that both sides were about winning the game itself. You know, when I first came here, I thought the two communities truly hated each other. I mean, because I'm an outsider looking in, and as it evolved, it's, you know, you hate each other on that time that you're on the hard court or you're on the football field. But some of my best friends that I've made since I've been here are Chesapeake guys, with Robbie Isaacs and Glendale Chapman, who is a Fairland guy that's down at Chesapeake. I probably spend more time with Glendale than anyone I do in this area. And, you know, but for me, it's that's one of the things that's on our board every year, BTP. I mean, and it's realistically, like Mr. Capper said, it's about bragging rights. For the next 365 days, I want them to know that we were the better football team, or the better basketball team, or whatever it may be.
I agree. You know, when you first come here, we started a little tradition. You and I'd sit down and we talked about it. And at that time, Fairland had lost 3, 4, 5 in a row to Chesapeake, and we said we're going to right the ship here. We're going to get it right. How do we do it? And we started the gold helmet. I think this was our 5th in a row, 4th in a row, 5th in a row. That we lost to them. I think my first 2. Well, we lost everybody. Yeah. Lost everybody the first year.
Yeah, my first year we lost to everyone. So, we lost our first 2 years, and so we lost our first 3 years. So we haven't lost since. So 5 in a row.
So yeah, our 5th gold helmet. Kids proudly wear those around on their Letterman jackets on the back, and that's kind of started turning that series, among other things. But that's kind of one of the things that's turned this series around. So, Coach, we appreciate you coming on, talking a little bit about your experience. We're going to get both Goo brothers on here, and we're going to kind of talk a little bit to them, and we're going to let Coach and Judge Capper kind of step off, and we're going to get them on while we're excusing them. We're going to talk a little bit. Tonight is a Hall of Fame game here at Fairland High School. We're going to put 3 are going to be inducted tonight. 1 is going to be inducted a little bit later. Mr. Dean Wilkes, who played football here, is a graduate in 1986. If you were around football at that point in time, Dean was a mountain of a man. He come in here a while ago, and Dean just an outstanding individual, very soft-spoken, but a heck of a football player. Played basketball for Coach. He's a member of the 1,000-point club, 500-plus rebounds. Coach, talk a little bit about Dean and his experience here.
You know, he was an athlete. He ended up getting a scholarship to Kentucky.
Yeah.
And was a guard and a long snapper. How you doing?
Look at you.
He had a tremendous career there. And when he played basketball for me, it was post up, big boy. We're getting you the ball. And he did a great job for us. He had such a soft touch for a big guy, good hands, and funny guy too. I mean, he was a great kid to be around all the time.
We're joined by Mr. Sam Goo over here. He's a superintendent at South Point Schools, played a lot of basketball for Chesapeake. His son and daughters play here. Alex come in from Atlanta today, if I'm correct? Just for this show. Now, I was told, JR told me when we were talking about who was going to be on the show today, he said that the Goo tradition was about 40 years at Chesapeake, it seemed like. And that you two are the only ones that Coach Pearson never yelled at the whole time he was down there. Yeah. Is that true?
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of truth in that. Yeah.
I'll tell you, the truth is, you probably remember this, but Sam's now the superintendent at South Point, and that's where I remember getting the most berated by Mr. Pearson. I held the ball at we were going into halftime, and you probably remember this. The time expired, and he was saying, pass, shoot, whatever. I didn't, and he ran me off the court. It was emotional.
He literally that game, I remember that too. I wasn't up there. I was in the stands for that game, but he fell on the ground because he was so angry and was sitting on his. I mean, it was unbelievable.
And honestly, when Coach was chasing you, he was pretty quick.
Yeah.
That's about the only time that he moved very fast.
Hey guys, I'm just going to tell you, the most fun I ever watched was when this guy and Coach Pearson would yell at each other, especially over in the small gym. That was entertainment, fellas.
That's right.
We were pretty soft-spoken coaches.
Oh,
Yes. Well, and
Norman and I are great friends now, but we battled, man.
at
Neither
the
one
time,
of us wanted to lose.
Rita would sit and kind of. She'd talk to you too a little bit, wouldn't she, behind the bench?
Oh, yeah. Up in Oak Hill, he got me good. She got me good.
The wives would go at it, huh?
Oh, she would wear me out. Especially at the most quietest time of the game. She just wear me out. But, yeah, Norman and I are good friends now. And he's a great coach. He's like second all time in the state of Ohio in victories. And I hope he's doing well. I heard he had some medical issues, but I think he's doing okay now. But that's pretty much what ran him out of coaching. And he's really a lot of fun to be around, especially on the golf course. You know, but,
Now,
we had our battles.
Now, one of the games that I remember, Chesapeake Fairland obviously always is just a dogfight, man. I think it's what if you attend one of those schools, it's just what it's about, right? I mean, it's Chesapeake Fairland, but I remember a game like this is again when I was younger, but I mean it was at Chesapeake and I think it was one. Alex was talking about maybe 1 versus 2 in the state or something. I mean it was, but
early
it was.
90s.
Yeah, it was.
91,
you were
wasn't it?
91.
probably freshman.
Yeah, I mean, it was packed outside of they were waiting at like 3 o'clock to get tickets. I mean, it was.
I think
Was that Ryan Ramey?
Yeah, they piped it in, I think, to the cafeteria for people to watch.
Ernie Hughes, Rusty Lee,
Jordan Nelson.
Tommy Rule, Derek Jones, Ryan Scribner. That's the best team I had.
And was
We won
that
21-3 that year?
Yeah, and was that so? Chesapeake that year had like one of the Thackers, right?
Yeah,
maybe Edwards.
Jonathan and Edwards boy.
Yeah,
Man, we had some battles. But I remember one. I got to tell this one. We were playing down Chesapeake, and it was right down to the wire. And Mark McCoy was on the foul line. two free throws, and he made 2 free throws. And he hustled back and got on the block, and a guy named Sam Magoo taking her to the hole, buddy. He put that knee right there on McCoy's chest. And the official come out of there and called charge, and he made the basket. And I mean, it was a 1-point game.
it may have been a questionable call.
Well, what's the janitor's name? No.
Harold Finley.
Coach Wells.
Harold
Bro,
Finley.
you're talking about Harold Finley.
Harold Finley.
He thought it was the questionable call.
He still thinks it's
He didn't
questionable.
agree with that call. He ended up punching the guy in the hallway. The referee. And that referee, I remember, he was from Athens. But we had some dandies. We had some great battles. I remember another time when Steve McMaster and Jeff Bain were down 1, and we got the ball. And Norm tried to pull a trick on me. He came out in a 1-2-2. Just as soon as we got the ball in, he went man. And we ran a little pick and roll, and Bain dropped it off to McMaster at the buzzer, laid it up and in, and we win by 1. It's funny how I remember the wins.
Yeah, you remember the win. That's right.
The losses, I'm telling you. That senior year when we had Ramey, and he got crushed ankle. This girl came across the yellow line, and he drove a little red sports car and hit his door, crushed his ankle. Leading scorer and rebounder there. And he's done for the season. And we played Chesapeake, and I'm telling you, it was still a good game, but this Runyon kid took over. He took over and made some big shots down the stretch. And they knocked us off that year.
Alex, we had the opportunity to talk to Sam a couple weeks ago. Now it's kind of your chance. Who was the better GU basketball player?
Oh, him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No
I was
way.
a role player. And then, yeah, but Sam was definitely the pride of our family when it came to that.
Oh yeah.
We had a good time. We got to play together for 2 years. That was real fun. You know, I mean, those were great years. And JR, and I guess you were between us, right?
Yeah. I mean, I got to play with both of them for two years, and
Yeah.
I mean, as I said, I don't think I ever heard Coach yell at him once.
Oh, whatever.
Alex actually got yelled at more than Sam did.
You guys weren't there when you guys graduated before I really got yelled at. So just so you know that, I mean.
So it happened that 1 year.
Yeah, 1 year.
Out of 4 that you played, 1 year. I mean, I'm sure
Sam
that was
had
tough.
mono for half his first season.
Yeah, his freshman year.
Alex could shoot it though. You say what you want,
Yeah.
but man, he could stroke it. So
He definitely liked being in that corner. He tried to hide out
he liked
there.
the corner three.
And
Like,
definitely would
I
shoot
didn't
those
like
corner
contact.
threes.
Still don't. You don't want to pull a hammy. I didn't want to at 16 years old, and I don't want at 45. I mean, do you?
No, Lord, no.
Hey, this guy's the one that takes the elevator instead of
Yeah,
taking
that's
the
right.
steps to
I
school.
take the elevator
you
every
know?
day. I don't want to pull a hammy going up the steps here. I mean, let's be honest. So, what's your favorite Fairland Chesapeake memory, Alex? Here.
Well, growing up, I mean, you know, it's crazy. Sam and I were talking about that. We loathed Fairland, but we loved everyone there. You know, it was such a weird thing because some of our best friends went to Fairland, but we hated. Just that rivalry it's what made it amazing. We were kind of born into it. So and now my nephew and nieces and nephews go to Fairland. It's just crazy to be here and be rooting for Maddox, you know. But that's what we're doing. But there were so many. I mean, we were across the way from you when I was a little boy. I mean, from the days at old Chesapeake High School, the old Fairland High School, all the way through. I mean, they were all amazing. They were packed. I mean, it's kind of what it's going to be like today, you know. I mean, it's just and I live in Atlanta now and have for 20-some years, and you just don't see this. You know, I mean, there's such great talent in Atlanta all over the place. I mean, you go to any game, you're going to see a D1 athlete, but no school has what we have. You know what I mean? There's just you can't
The atmosphere.
you can't bottle this up and sell it. You know, you just can't. So I don't know. My best memories were this game in really every sport. You know.
You know, I played at Fairland, and I remember coming out up the stairs and out of the locker room when I was on the JV team.
Yeah.
And you come out and it was like shock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Place was packed for the JV game. You were lucky to get 50, 60 people there during the regular season.
Right.
But for the Chesapeake Fairland game, the place was packed. And
Well,
the same way down there.
I was just talking to Timmy Thacker, who's Joey's. Joey's my best friend, and I was just talking to him, and he's sweating bullets right now. You know, his son's a freshman for Chesapeake, and it's just it doesn't change. You just grow up in this, and that's who we are. You know.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
I agree. Guys, I appreciate you coming on. You know, Alex, I appreciate you coming all the way from Atlanta just to
for
be
you.
on this show.
Really.
I appreciate that so much.
Right.
You know, Sam, you're always welcome back. Anytime you get Alex back in town, we'll get him back on maybe and all that.
Now we just have like at least one more GU to get on here at some point.
That's right. Well, he said Beckett run out of town.
Yeah. Well, Beckett can be your sponsor. We'll get him to fund this thing.
Okay. That sounds good. There we go. That's good.
Y'all need some money?
Yeah.
He's got it. He's the one.
Hey, Beckett's the one we get for that, right? All right. Guys, I appreciate it. We're going to let them step aside here. We're going to get Mr. Allen on, longtime teacher and coach at Fairland. Back to the Hall of Fame. Another one we're going to put in tonight thank you guys, is Miss Jennifer Jones. Jennifer played softball, track, volleyball here for us. She's a basketball player. She ended up going to Marshall to play. Softball was Mid-American Freshman of the Year at Marshall. We're going to induct her later. And then Melissa Topping, Coburn. She was a track star here for Fairland. One of the I was 7th grade running track. One of the fastest human beings I ever saw run. individual state champion, only state champion, I believe, female state champion Fairland's ever had. So we're going to be putting her in the Hall of Fame too. We're joined now by Mr. Mike Allen.
You got to get a mic on him.
Your microphone is right here, hanging. Longtime sixth grade teacher. He was my sixth grade teacher. Absolute joy to have in class. I had Miss Allen as a fifth grader, and then they said, you know, you did so well with her, we're just going to let you have him the next year. So, no, absolute. Loved having you as a teacher. Longtime coach, girls basketball coach here. I know you coached a little bit of boys a few years.
Yes.
Maybe some other things. Coach, we appreciate you having you on here. Talk a little bit about, now we're grandson playing tonight. Let's talk a little bit about that excitement and watching Chase and hit the game winner here the other night. Big game winner.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about having Chase, you know, everything you gave here and now having Chase playing basketball here.
Wow, I don't know how to really respond to that. It's just I had 36 basketball seasons in here when I finished up. 8 track seasons. Little League Baseball, 13 years. I put a lot of time into Fairland District, and I love Fairland.
Right.
I may have graduated from Chesapeake, but you know, you go to Marshall and you go to OU for your degrees, and they're green and white. You teach school here 37 years, you bleed green after that. I've watched my son play baseball here. He was all conference his senior year here, and now I've got Chase. He was all conference last year in basketball, and the thing I'm most proud about Chase is he's a straight A student.
Yes.
He's a good student, and he's on the student council. He's a good kid. In this day and age, you know, it's more than, you know, you just pray for your grandchildren that they will turn out okay, and that's what I've been praying. I've got 5 more coming after him, so I'm gonna be at this for a while.
Yes.
But Chase has been a delight to watch growing up. He's always been out in the driveway, always going with his friends to play different places. He's always just had a passion for this game. He could have been good at baseball, he could have been good at football, but he gave those both up after 6th grade and stuck with the basketball, and it's come through for him, and I'm just very, very proud of him.
You know, I know you had the opportunity as a coach, and you're a high school girls coach here for a couple years, to experience this rivalry. It's different than anything else that I've ever been around. And I know, you know, as a coach and as a player, it's completely different. This is completely different. So kind of tell us a little bit about that experience as a girls basketball coach here and the rivalry with Fairland Chesapeake.
Yeah. Well, I heard you mention Melissa and Jennifer. They both play ball for me and did things. It's as intense as it can get. Yes. It's always been a hot item. I mean, as far back as I can remember in the early 60s to right now, it's you might be playing Cold Grove and you might be playing Sins Valley or Rock Hill, but when you're playing Chesapeake, it's all capital letters with an exclamation mark. You know, the fans are going to be up. I think it was Alex there say a while ago that, you know, it's unlike anything else, and I agree with him 100%. But the thing I like most about the Chesapeake-Fairland rivalry, as hot as it gets, the next day, these guys will see each other, hug each other, shake each other's hands, and be just, they'll be friends. And they'll be friends the rest of the way through. But boy, when they get out there in that court tonight, or when they get on that football field, or on that baseball field, they leave it all there. It brings it out. It brings it out.
You step in between those lines, it's different. You know,
yes.
JR and I are best friends. He's a Chesapeake guy. You know, I'm Fairland. Cut me. No matter where you cut me, I'm going to bleed green. And we kind of rib each other a little bit, but, you know, at the end of the day, we're still best friends. And we're going to sit down here beside each other tonight, and we're going to talk basketball during the game. Coaches, you guys got any? I know you work closely with Mike. You taught with Mr. Allen's son.
I'll tell you, Coach Allen's the one that got me started first year coaching. He kind of took me under his wing and said, now this is what you need to do. This is how you need to do it. And at one time, I don't know if people know this, but at Fairland, all the basketball coaches were from Chesapeake. There was me, was Coach Allen, was Joey Thacker. I mean, we were all from Chesapeake, if you remember that. You know, and I
Yeah.
think that was kind of like,
Well, we've got a lot of Fairland people teaching at Chesapeake right now.
Yes.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
The two Fuller girls.
Holly
Leanne,
Dillon.
Beth
Leanne
Wireman's
Wills,
down
yeah,
there.
it's just, and she's got a son that's playing out here for Chesapeake tonight. So it's that crossover thing that we might get it, like you said, between the lines.
Between
but
the lines.
the rest of the time,
I got a good
we're there.
story about Chad, his son. He's playing basketball for me, and Chad got blisters on his feet, and I guess he had him the whole season. But by golly, that kid never said a word to me. Didn't hear anything. He gutted it out. Didn't say a thing. And I know he's proud of Chase.
Yeah.
You know, but I've always thought about how tough Chad was.
Chad would come home. He wouldn't let me tell Dave about it. He would soak his feet with his socks on so he could get the socks off his feet. They would be bleeding, stuck, and hurt. And he's a diabetic, and it made it. That's what it brought. Yeah.
And see if they would have told me that, but you know.
Oh, he would have killed me.
You know, I want to kind of go back to Tuesday night here, Gallipolis. As an athletic director, I'm always got my eyes on the crowd, my eyes on the floor. I'm watching everything going around. And when the shot went down, I had the opportunity to kind of glance up and look. There was no one smiling bigger than Mr. Allen Tuesday night when that
There's a
shot went
picture
down.
on Facebook of him. where Will Davis is carrying Chase out.
Yeah.
And you can see all these teeth. He was
Those two
beaming
boys,
from-
those two boys love each other. That's all I can say.
did.
Yeah.
I remember Waverly. Chase hit the tying shot in one of those overtimes, and Will picked him up and ran him around the court that ball game. It was crazy.
Now, Coach, you have left a great legacy. Not
Pardon?
only you've left a great legacy with your son Chad and now your grandson Chase, and I imagine my 5 grandkids probably going to be playing something with one of
Oh
your
yeah,
5.
yeah. I'm sure.
But it all comes back to great parenting.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people don't realize. You find these great kids, good kids, and it goes back to great parenting. You are to be commended, young man.
I love and respect both these guys. Go to church with Jack now, and we have a good time there. And I remember when Chase was about this high. Jack may not remember. He was taking up the collection, and I told Jack, I said, "There's Fairland's future point guard right there." And he's lived up to that. He just had that going on a while. And then Dave, I remember his first year teaching, going down to his classroom. It wasn't just on the basketball court, but in the classroom, because a couple parents got after him. And I love this guy, and I always will. And I tried to be there for any of the new teachers, you know, and go see and check on them. And
Well, you know what? I appreciate that. I've never forgotten that. You know, always have.
It's a brotherhood. I mean,
Yeah, it is.
It's just like down there. And, you know, we're talking about sports, but when we were doing the state proficiency test in the 90s,
Oh, yeah.
you wanted to see who I beat more first than anybody else? I want to make sure I beat Chesapeake. I want to make sure my score was higher than theirs was.
It's funny. Mr. Allen, we appreciate you coming up tonight. We hope that you're grinning ear to ear tonight after Chase is going to have an
Me too.
outstanding game. And we appreciate you coming on. Thank you very much. And thank you for everything you did for myself and for this school. We appreciate everything.
Love you, Jeff.
Thank you. Love you.
Guys.
We're going to get, I know Tracy Bunch and a couple of her other ones from Hometown Love. They're going to be on here next. We're going to talk a little bit about what they're doing for our community, beautification projects that they're doing. We're going to get them on here as they're kind of getting mic'd in and in. The last one, Tara Lee, that we named to Hall of Fame, she's not going to be here tonight. We're going to recognize her in a couple weeks when we play Eastern here. Tara's a 95 graduate, a track star, played volleyball, played a couple years of basketball. Tara still holds a 100-meter hurdle record. You guys want to come ahead in? Still holds a 100-meter hurdle record here at Fairland. She went on to run at Marshall, where she set numerous school records at Marshall. Very well deserving. Tara Lee will also be our 4th inductee here at pregame. We've got the crew from Hometown Love. I know Tracy Bunch here to my right of Bunch Realty. I'm not 100% sure. Just kind of, or the one that's clipped to, you can get the other one that's clipped over here to the on on the other side over there. That's fine,
Help me
right
out here,
there.
Jeff.
Just clip it anywhere.
Oh, did not
This
fit.
one. This one's mine. So yeah, either one of them. Oh. So while we're getting the microphone fixed here, I'm a little bit familiar with what you guys do, but what exactly do you guys do here for our community? Yeah.
Well, Jeff, I think you attended a couple of the meetings, but we want to maintain, improve our area, our community, keep revitalizing some of the areas that we have. Locks 27 is a great example.
Yes.
We have a wonderful opportunity for families to enjoy that area. We've been cleaning that up, along with bringing awareness to trash cleanup, trying to make things more appealing, because I think sometimes we get used to having blinders on as we drive into the area, whereas when people come from other areas, that's something that is talked about, at least in my profession. So this is a community event that we are growing from. We have festivals that we're going to be participating in. We have cleanup days. We have, we paint different areas and try to improve and add to make sure that our community is looking beautiful. And that's what we want. We live here and we want to respect that.
Right. I agree. You guys, new sign as we come into Rome Township, beautiful sign. You guys have had that landscape to put that up. My cross-country teams are up at the locks, running all the time. Everything that you've done up there, the beautification, the cleaning, new park benches. I know the fire department's been helping with that also. The basketball court. All of it is just amazing for our community. It gives you that sense of pride.
Yes.
That you're living somewhere where the people care about it. And I appreciate everything you're doing. And we're super excited about a lot of projects. I've been seeing there's maybe a Rome apple tree, something
Rome
going
Apple
on.
Festival.
Yeah, Rome Apple Festival. I knew there was something. I remember reading it the other night. Just a lot of exciting things going on. And kind of what are your guys?
Well, some other things that we were looking to do, I couldn't quite hear Tracy, so I wasn't sure if she said that we were hoping to get with the community center and maybe do some movies or some fun activities throughout the summer to kind of let everybody utilize that new space that we have, and find different events that we have going on, whether it be a fundraiser that somebody else needs help with, or they have, here's an area of our town we wish that somebody could help us beautify. They can get a hold of us. We'd love to help, and we'd love other people to come help us. In any way that we can, really, just to make this a town that people enjoy coming to visit and to live in.
Right. And I agree. And again, I mentioned some of those projects. I see you guys out working all the time. I'm kind of on the group messages you're getting. You don't understand the planning that you guys go through and everything to make those projects. And every one of them, you knock it out of the park. And thank you so much for that. Like I said, I know you got a festival coming up, but I think that's kind of in the fall.
That's in the fall.
Some
We
other
just
things?
finished up pictures with Santa and the Grinch, and I think, how many people did we end up? Like 5,000, I think?
No, it was over 1,000.
It was over 1,000.
5,000 sounds a lot better. 5,000 sounds a lot better.
We'll go with that. It works. But yeah, I mean,
That's
that
our
one
goal
we were
for next
so
year.
overwhelmed with how great everybody in the community came together to help out and make it work and have something fun.
Oh, yeah. And it was fun. I saw a lot of those pictures on Facebook. The kids, Grinch was outstanding. He was awesome there and everything. I know that was up at Complex 7, and it's great. I'm able to I got an 11-year-old and a 9-year-old daughter. We were able to go up to the river or to the boat docks and just enjoy it. It wasn't grown up. It was clean, and so I do thank you guys for that. Any other projects coming up or things coming up here shortly?
We actually are having a meeting next week, and we're going to try to get some more planning on what events we want to be a part of. We would like for the community to get involved as well. So we will update our Facebook page so that they can see what events are upcoming. This isn't just our group. This is the community's group.
Right.
So therefore, we want everyone involved, everyone that wants to be involved. And again, like you said, we take pride in our area. This is our home. We grew up here as children. So of course we want our children to enjoy it and to pass down the fun that we had as kids. And we have so much to offer here in our area with the river and the fairgrounds, and that's where the Lawrence County Fairgrounds. That's all of Lawrence County comes to our area.
Right, yep.
And I think we don't utilize what we have, and so we're trying to just bring something back to the town of Rome, Proctorville, and make sure that the families or the elderly or people who are single can enjoy. They can go down to the boat docks and they can watch the river. That's relaxing. We're going to have movie night this summer. So there's lots of things that we have planned. But anytime that we have a cleanup or an event, it's not just our group. If you're driving by and you're coming home from a ball game, then feel free to go get changed and come back and help us. We're always looking for help.
Okay. As we kind of wrap up here, Tracy, I know you cheered here at Fairland. Kind of give us your best Fairland Chesapeake basketball memory.
Oh gosh, well we always had, the burning of the C or the F on the field at Fairland or Chesapeake, depending upon where the home game was going to be. So we had a lot of fun being rivals, but we also had a lot of friendships.
One of my guys in the back there, you can find Hometown Love on Facebook. It's Hometown Love
Rome for our group.
Rome,
There's
yes.
another one for Chesapeake too, but
each little village has their
Rome. So it's Hometown Love Rome. Go on Facebook and follow them. It's a great, very informational. You guys are all the time doing things. We appreciate you guys coming down.
Thank you for having us.
Giving us the opportunity to kind of highlight you a little bit. You guys have a Fairland Chesapeake basketball memory, rivalry, anything?
Oh my gosh. I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay.
You caught me off guard.
Hey Jeff, one thing that we do want to bring to the attention of especially boaters in our area, we would like to have their help down at the Locks 27.
Okay.
They are going to utilize that more than anyone.
Right.
So we really want the boating community to be a part of what we're doing as well, because they're going to have input that we may not think of.
Right. Oh,
so
yeah.
we would really like to have them a part of it.
So again, if you've got ideas or just want information, follow them on Facebook, Hometown Love-Rome.
Yes.
And get that out there. We'd also like to thank Jim Lester of Signature Photography. He is doing our photos tonight for our Hall of Fame inductions, and he's down in the reception area right now. Again, we'd like to thank him for that. Again, we're going to induct Dean Wilkes, Jennifer Jones, Melissa Topping, Coburn, and Tara Lee into the 2022 Hall of Fame class here at Fairland tonight. Dragon Nation, we appreciate you joining in tonight. Hometown Love, we appreciate you guys coming by. You're always welcome on any of our shows to give us information. We're going to be back here in about 15 minutes or so with Coach Carroll and Coach Harris for the Hall of Fame inductions. Thank you and good night.